Well, good morning to you. How are you doing? Well, thanks for visiting, and let's say we go ahead and take a visit down to the train room and see how it is. All right, watch your head and watch your step. This is a 118-year-old house. The basement on these was never actually designed for any kind of model railroading. If you had, jelly or preserves or something, a good place to store it, but model trains, maybe not. Anyway, let me turn you around. I'll show you where the train room is. All right, here we go. Welcome to Chicago Crossing Model Railroad. Everything that you see on the channel, save for the editing, happens in here. And here's the layout. I'm doing some recording on it currently. As you can see, it doubles as its own miniature studio. And here's the workbench, the spray booth, and some additional bench space. This is the version of Chicago Crossing Model Railroad that you get to see. By the trick of the camera, oftentimes it seems a lot larger than it is. Focused down on one spot, and it almost seems like a city. But the reality is, Chicago Crossing is located in about a 13 by 8 foot space. Pretty small. Small enough that I can almost reach across it if I stick my arms out. Thankfully, I've found some ways to economize on the limited amount of floor and room space that I have, and just try to keep everything else in a location where it's near enough that I can access it quickly and be able to put it away and have it stay away where I need it. All right, well, what you see here is the Chicago Crossing Model Railroad Workbench. All of the episodes of Chicago Crossing at the Bench, all of the rail car reviews, pretty much take place at this space here. It's literally a 27 by 30 foot IKEA table that once long ago was actually the kitchen table that I had in an old apartment, I think probably even when I was in Chicago, geez. But in any case, it's got all of my paints available for use just right away. I've got various adhesives, variable voltage power supply, and of course an echo dot for music. But really, it's an element of economizing into a really small space. In addition, there's also the famous squeaky Chicago Crossing workbench chair that has sometimes made a visit during an episode or two of railcar reviews. Welcome to another edition of Really? And everything else is basically stored away in this cart. Let's have a quick look at what's there. So up on the top, just some typical things that are more or less everyday use. There is a chopper over here. This is my precision soldering station. I always keep a multimeter on hand, X-Acto knives, safety glasses, and a camera lens for my iPhone as well. So over on this side, this is all of my brushes. There's a few dozen in there. Many of them are years old, so I take good care of them. Down here is a bunch of pigments and acrylic markers. We've got some spatulas for pastes and things like that. All additional stuff for scenery or graffiti art or whatever. And then we come into a bunch of kind of miscellaneous cabinets. This one stores 3D printed and metal details. We've got some decals and some other layout details that still need to be put on the layout. And then down here and down below are basically all of the electrical and DCC stuff for the layout. On the other side, we've got tools, masking tape, things like that. This is a bunch of the Plastruct, but not all of it. And then I also keep a couple of shooting supplies in here, Again, this is many spaces all in one, so you economize where you can. Down here is where I keep all of my polystyrene sheets, so most of the evergreen stuff lays in there. I've got various bits of metal for details, metal rods, metal tubes, etc. Balsa wood and various tissue papers for detailing buildings. And then down at the bottom, a ton of kit parts that still can be used for anything, really, just extra stuff for kit bashing and scratch builds. So if these cabinets look familiar to you, it's because they used to form the base for the layout itself. When I redid all of the wiring and bought the packing table and put it together, I recognized that I could actually move these off to the side, still be able to use the space in the room, and still have some cabinet space for storage. So what's inside? Well, if you come down here, this is where all of the scenery stuff is. So I keep all of my various static grasses and other scenicking elements up here. Down here, there's a couple of additional kits that don't necessarily fit into that other shelf. We've got various map medias, some mineral spirits for cleaning track, and of course the ever famous label maker now kind of lives down there for when I need it. And then down in the bottom on this side is where I keep the airbrush compressor and just a couple of other things, squeeze bottles, sponges, sandpaper, again, mostly related to scenery. Over on this side, I keep a bunch of evergreen polystyrene for scratch builds and details and things like that. These packages are actually too long to fit in that other cart, which is why they live in a drawer. The lower shelf on the packing table is the location that houses my model railroad train collection. It's not large, and that's by design. So up on this side is where I keep all of my locomotives that are not on, say, collection display like the electromotive ones up in the cabinet. You know, a decent number of these. I haven't counted them, but I honestly don't really need any more, and probably will even consider selling some. You know, the one thing I've recognized about model railroad collections is, at least for me, I don't need a ton of stuff, and everything I get has to speak to me in some way. For me, that means, did I see it as a kid? Did I see it when I lived in the city? Is it something that, to me, just looks right? So you might be wondering what was in the tackle box. It's actually not fishing tackle. I've got a different tackle box for that. Actually, these are all models that don't have their own packaging. They were either purchased used and just came in something else, or were actually from long ago when I was a little kid and just had a few N-scale cars and a locomotive. This is actually the very first locomotive that I had as a little kid. It's a little Bachmann F unit. It's the one you get with the kind of introductory train set. Will I ever try to DCC convert it and make it run again? No. Probably not. But nonetheless, you know, it may not have cost much money back in the day, but it is sort of a treasure. Train room, basement empire, man cave. There are as many names to describe the room occupied by a model railroad as there are hobbyists. For me, it's much more than just a hobby room, though. It's a time machine that takes me back to when I was young. It's a way to connect who I was with who I am today. It's a place full of treasures that remind me of my family and my city. My dad's old Lionel set in the cabinet. Not worth much monetarily, but the old controller and a photo from his childhood offer a way for me to remember how we bonded over trains when I was young. An old N-scale switcher that was an impromptu gift from my Uncle Tom. A favorite gift that sparked my interest in N-scale model railroading. A photo of a DC-10 landing at Meigs Field in Chicago. That plane would eventually be displayed at the Museum of Science and Industry. The photo was taken by one of my flight instructors when I was a young Civil Air Patrol cadet in Chicago. An old photo of my great-uncle, a Chicago fire captain, that reminds me of my family's deep roots in the city. A collection of EMD demonstrator locomotives, a reminder of growing up just a short walk from the old Electromotive plant in McCook, Illinois. A CTA station sign from the Blue Line, and a map of all of the transit routes in the city that I used to get around as a new resident after college, and to explore all of the nooks and crannies of that place, some of which are represented on the layout. Chicago Crossing Model Railroad. Is it a layout? A room in a basement? A YouTube channel? Absolutely, it's all of those things. And to me, it's so much more. Have a great holiday weekend, and talk soon.